My name's Kevin Benedict. I'm Senior Analyst for Digital Transformation here at Cognizant. And I want to thank you for joining us today. I have an extraordinary guest and a business intelligence expert joining us today, Mico Yuk. Mico, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Kevin. I hope you like my shades. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Those are nice shades. Yeah. Now, Mico Yuk is the founder of BI Dashboard Formula and a world traveler.
Yes. I think this year I'm somewhere between 250,000 to 300,000 miles. Something that I stopped counting actually after 200,000 because I knew it was pretty ridiculous.
Well, that's awesome. So, how often do you get bumped up?
Pretty often. I've definitely done a good bit of first class this year. More so just because of the miles. The airlines tend to know me at some of the airports, so pretty good.
That's awesome. So why don't you just share with the audience over the last 4 weeks, where have you been?
Okay, the last 4 weeks I have done Dubai, Lisbon, Doha. I'm in the US now, heading to London and Paris.
All right. There you go.
It's a bit. I came in actually 2 nights ago, so I'm pretty excited. I'm in the US.
That's awesome. That's why we had to schedule this for the morning, because this afternoon you're going to be asleep.
Absolutely.
So, Mico, what makes you a business intelligence expert?
You know, to be honest with you, when I was younger, someone always told me an expert was someone who studied the equivalent of 10 years, no matter how, but I think I must have done that probably within a 3-year time frame. So I don't know if expert's the good word. I just think that I like the topic a lot, so I probably spend a lot of time reading about it, learning, and a lot of time talking to customers. With me, it's more passion. So if that makes me an expert, great, but I kind of enjoy doing it, so the time doesn't tick. So just love it. I just love BI. I think where we are right now is probably the most exciting time ever, where it will transform the world. Because we now I feel like the technology has caught up with what's possible.
Absolutely. Now, you and I both served as SAP mentors for a long time.
Yeah, we both.
And then something happened.
Something did happen. Sorry.
I think they asked me to find other hobbies other than being an SAP mentor. What about you?
You see my ears. I think we kind of asked a lot of questions, very interesting questions.
Anyway, so we both had to move on from that role, didn't we?
We sure did. I'm gonna take the ears off now.
So let's talk about a couple of things here. You've been in the market. You've been talking to everybody around there. What have you seen change over the last 36 months from kind of a requirements from your clients and customers? What are they asking today that's different than they did 3 years ago?
So let me ask the question first, on the IT or the business side?
Well, I'll leave that up to you. Let's start with the business side. What are they asking different today?
Okay, so on the business side, what's interesting is because they now have the ability to do, so there's because of Tableau and ClickTech and a host of other technologies, visual discovery is the new thing, right? So this is no longer where you have an Excel sheet. It's where you have access to your data and you can open it at any level, pop a credit card into the internet and have something moving. So a lot of what we're seeing with the business is that they literally now want real time. I mean, and when I say real time, and they want it on these devices. Okay. So in the past, you would hear things like, oh yeah, just give me some type of report and I'll be okay. Now we're definitely hearing, I want dashboards. I expect it to be on my mobile and I want to open and get my data anytime. So I think that the business people, Kevin, are truly realizing that they have the capability now to no longer wait around. Also, and I say this kind of, I came from IT side, running from IT. I mean, I'm so sorry to tell you, we work a lot with IT in companies, but the amount of business, so let's look at our company, for instance, and this is actually something I check with partners. Before, at least 90% of our business was IT. In the last, you said 36 months,
yeah,
at least more than half of that is directly through the business. And more than half of that half have outrightly said the reason that we found you is because we cannot get anything from our IT department.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So in
I have
order
that
to get a
documented.
response, they call Mico and say, Mico, help us get the data we need in real time.
They literally, I mean, I had one company whose name I won't call, obviously, because it's not a good story, who had tried to get a single dashboard from their IT and a single server set up for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So when they came to us, they literally said this: give us a solution that does not involve IT. If we have to go through them for governance, if we have to go through them for approval, we don't want that solution.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
So we're
what are other than IT being an obstacle, what are you seeing as some of the other obstacles to being able to actually get the data through a system in a real-time environment? Are there
well,
bottlenecks that you see regularly?
absolutely. First of all, the size of the data is growing, Kevin. And even though we have new technologies that are in memory, we've all heard it. DB2, IBM, Exalytics, right? Oracle, or they brought up their new box recently. We have SAP HANA. The reality is that when we go into organizations, many of them are just trying to get it out of a development box or onto development. I can tell you that right now. Right before I came here, I went to a few different customers. I asked them, what do you have? And a lot of them are in development. So I think what we're seeing now is that the barriers right now are not necessarily the technology. I think the barriers are the capabilities of the people who have been charged with owning this data.
Ah,
Yeah.
so this is why, now I looked at your LinkedIn account and you have there listed as you're a business intelligence coach in
Yes.
addition to running your own company there. So what does it mean to be a business intelligence coach in that context?
So what we do is, because my personal background is from IT and now I'm more on the business side, one of my main passions is helping other BI professionals, especially on the IT end, though now we have a lot of business people as well, evolve and think outside the box, right? So kind of the art of the impossible, the Internet of Things, help them understand that a dashboard, a report is just the beginning, Kevin. I mean, we have things, for instance, like indoor mapping right now, right? Where you can look and see exactly where all your customers are. You have retail customers that will change the ad in front of me when I walk into the store because they know what I'm coming to buy. That's insane. But the problem that I see with a lot of BI professionals is that the imagination is lagging behind the technology as well. So one
Wow.
of my goals is to help them break through that barrier and say, look, forget what you know. Forget about a report and a dashboard. What value can we add? What new insights can we provide to the customer on their data? That's what a coach does. It digs a lot deeper into the data and insights and steps away because it's too focused on technology, Kevin. You know this.
Yeah.
Everything is a technology. Everything, the box that I'm in is based on the tool I'm using. What we come with is forget the tool. I don't want to hear about the tool. What I want to know is what data do we have and what new types of insights can we provide to the customer so they can make educated decisions today. So that's kind of what, and that takes a paradigm shift, Kevin. It takes retraining. It takes people understanding that you can't just know one technology. You got to look outside the box. I mean, there's a lot involved with that because we have a lot of intelligent people like this.
Right. So what you're doing is you're taking the data from just being a simple report that they look at and reference in a meeting, and then connecting that data to a real-time actionable step where it could change that ad. It could change somebody's experience on a website. It could change the experience within a retail environment.
Exactly. And you said the keyword, Kevin, actionable. That's one of the key things as a BI coach that I focus on. Is I tell them, if it's not actionable, don't show it.
Right.
No, gone are the days when I open my phone and I'm trying to look to see, oh, I wonder how that's going. People only want to know when something has changed or happened.
Yes.
They don't want to sit down and watch a chart and start to study it and go, oh, let me see if I could find the exception. That's over.
Yeah.
Nobody has time for that anymore.
That's really interesting because really I think if we go back and we think about business intelligence just a few years ago, real time wasn't part of it. And
Nope.
it was really to review on the end of a quarter or on a monthly chart or a quarterly chart, see what needs to be tweaked within the business plan based on the data that comes in. But now we're saying hyper personalization where individuals get unique
Yes.
experiences. That's all part of your your inventory now of tools, isn't it?
That's correct. So simple things on, let's say, a data visualization. To be honest, Kevin, I don't even like the word dashboard anymore.
Okay.
Let's expand it. Data visualizations, whether they're
Okay.
infographics, they're on the phone. It opened and said, hi, Kevin. Simple things like that that make the experience personal. You know,
Yeah.
because the whole focus, Kevin, now is user adoption. You've probably heard me say online. I hear a lot of customers adopt it. I said that if you're in IT, your number one KPI is user adoption. It doesn't matter. Everything else, it doesn't matter, right? Because we
Yeah.
have a big user adoption problem in BI. You know that.
Absolutely. So let's shift the discussion for a moment here, Mico, to how is supporting mobile devices within your world different than just supporting a desktop or a laptop?
Oh boy, BYOD. I mean, there's no other choice right now, right? The phones are moving so fast. The versions are moving so fast. I mean, Amazon just brought out a phone for goodness sake.
Right.
You know, and if someone shows up with it, you got to support it, right? So one of
Right.
the things that we're definitely seeing is that customers now have a more open, like what I'm seeing, for instance, especially on IT side with IT leaders, CIOs, it's no longer, I think we'll have mobile. It's expected. It's a part of the game plan. It's a strategy. It's installed. Before, probably, I'd be honest with you, 3 years ago, you would say this, and people would go, yeah, yeah, after we get the initial deployment and a few
Right.
phases down, we'll do phones. You know
Right.
what I mean? Now it's like it's a part of the initial phase one. So it's very exciting, but I will tell you with all the security and I mean it's getting very complicated to support all these devices. It really is. It really,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, and there's
But
tech.
there's no option because that's what the client's asking for, right?
Yeah, you can't do anything about it. If I come to work and think about it, I mean, I don't want to show you on my devices, but I have an iPhone, a
Yeah.
Samsung S3, a Kindle, and an iPad on me
Wow.
at all times.
Yes.
Okay? And I have completely different uses for them. However, I should be able, like how we have, Google Hangout. I have Google Hangout on all my phones. You heard it when you called me, it rang. People
Yeah.
expect this, right? Whatever
Yeah.
device I have, when I open it, it needs to be here and now. So I think that,
Absolutely.
so I kind of feel sorry for IT, Kevin, but I do have to say that I feel great for the business users because the easiest way to get more user adoption is through these little devices.
Got it. So I have to ask a question then. What do you use the Kindle for different than the iPad?
The Kindle I read. I use it for media. It's purely for media.
Okay, but you could read with the iPad. So is it a matter of reading outdoors or what?
You know what? I just like my Kindle. I have to, no, I can read with the iPad, but for me, I think it's a mindset I have where my iPad has a little keyboard on it, right? And so my
Yeah.
Kindle just doesn't have a keyboard, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's my me time. You know what I
Yes.
don't have on here? No social media. Nothing pops up when I'm
Ah, I
reading.
get it. That's awesome. That
Yeah.
that that makes perfect sense. My wife carries both with her as well. She has her Kindle and she has her iPad. But it's
Yes.
just really interesting. It's the Miko Me Time.
Yes, that's the Kindle. No
Yeah,
social
you can open
apps.
that up and no distractions from business.
That's correct. That's
Ah,
correct.
that's awesome. So now
Yeah.
let's shift into some of the other technology trends that are going, and let's talk about the
Sure.
impact of those on business intelligence. The Internet of Things and cloud computing, are they real on the front lines? Are they still in the hype cycle in places where I might be talking about it, but people aren't yet implementing those at the BI level? What do you see?
All right, man. I got to put on the shades. Maybe I can wear a disguise here.
That's right.
So there's some on-set vendors who would like us to Kevin, you're great. Who would love us to believe that the cloud is the biggest thing since fried rice. I'm gonna be honest with you, Kevin. We work a lot with really like the Fortune 100. Let me expand to Fortune 500, and especially in the bigger traditional companies, we're not seeing that huge, cloud footprint. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I can point to a few where customers are saying, we need to test this. We'll put it out there. But when it comes to data and security, I mean, I had one CIO of a huge oil and gas company tell me cloud will never happen here. I don't know if you know about last year, there was a big, did you know about the attack against oil and gas last year?
Yeah.
There's like you know about that? Lockdown, right? This is a huge industry. I've went to other customers as well, whether they're in telecommunications, they're in consumer goods, and they say not gonna happen. So, maybe it's we deal with big enterprise, but I'm really not seeing that footprint of cloud like that.
So, Mico, were you referring to the gas company in the Middle East who got shut down by hackers?
Yes. But you know that they weren't the only one hit. They got the hardest hit, but they went directly after oil and gas. So I've met a lot of oil and gas. We do a lot in oil and gas, and they've said no, just not gonna happen.
Wow. So
Yeah.
let's move into market trends now. So where are you seeing the biggest demand for business intelligence today?
Business.
Any particular industry or just business in general?
Business users. So we work with a lot of different industries, but I mean, I don't know how to point out one. I cannot. Coca-Cola, Ericsson, Shell. I mean, Nestle. The sky's the limit. I don't know one company right now that cannot survive without data. And I'll tell you one of the biggest trends we're seeing is the big data word. I didn't want to say it on this interview, but big data is huge. The only problem is that there's a hype around what to me, there's too much of a fascination around what big data is and less fascination around what it can do for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody, exabytes, petabytes, zettabytes, great. Where's the
Absolutely. Here at Cognizant, we're talking all the time about the notion of code halos, where every one of us has a halo of code that is our personal preferences, it's our online activities, it's the things we've said and done in our LinkedIn account and our social. So all of that kind of forms this code halo that tracks with us everywhere we go, anywhere. Right. And that's the information companies can use to hyper-personalize our experience. But some companies have not jumped on the bandwagon yet, and they're not using that data. But the companies that are, we see are doing a lot better off in the business.
Well, Kevin, one trend for next year I think we're going to see that's huge is particularly going to be geointelligence and social BI. I think those are going to be.
What do you mean by geointelligence?
That's the indoor mapping stuff, right? So that location analysis, right? With the evolution of Google Maps, we have the Esris of the world, we have Bing, and then you see all these. If you look at that market, because I have a friend that's in that market, there's so much evolution there because it's not just retail that could benefit from knowing where we are and what we're doing. You know that. Corporations can track employee activities. Warehouses can track everything that you do, right? So I think that maybe I'm too far ahead. I think it might take another 2 to 3 years to mature, but I think that indoor mapping geointelligence will span way beyond the retail soon. That's something to watch.
Got it. So you said geointelligence. What was the other one?
Social BI.
What about that?
Category of its own. So similar to what you said, a halo, right? I truly think if you are a company, I mean, Kevin, look at all these stores that are closing because they have online competitors killing them. Look at Zappos and Nine West. Not to bring up shoes, you know I'm a shoe girl, right? I was gonna put on my little tiara here, right? But look at Zappos and Zappos and Nine West, right? Zappos killed Nine West. Nine West closed all their stores in the U.S. You know, and that's not the only thing, right? If you're not online right now and you're not tracking what your customers are saying, if you're not engaging, you're in deep trouble. You're in deep trouble. And I think social BI is going to be a whole new avenue that they're going to have to jump in.
One of the things so I work for the Center for the Future of Work at Cognizant. One of the things that we've noticed that there's this path, we call it the Crossroads, where there's a time in almost every industry where there's going to be the winners and the losers, and they cross at that crossroad. And that crossroad is often determined by how smart they are with their business intelligence.
Yes, and how fast they move.
Are they using it? Are they building new business models? Are they supporting their customers using this data? Or are they simply wanting to continue on a traditional path?
Yes.
And that crossroad means they're going to start going down from there while those using data go up and experience more success.
Absolutely. And again, I hate to point to retail, but retail is probably one of the areas where it's so critical right now to have a presence. But I think that's going to become for every organization. I don't think you're going to just be able to sit behind a desk, whether you're doing B2B or B2C, and not have any type of visibility. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think, for instance, social media will completely disrupt, if it hasn't already, customer service.
Got it. So last topic, let's talk about social sentiment and social media. How are you seeing that being reflected within the business intelligence space?
So I have to be honest with you, in a big enterprise, it's a lot more can be done. I mean, I have to be very honest. Some of the customers I mentioned, not to point out, they run things like competitions and stuff, but it's a lot of them are still nowhere on the scale of where it should be. They're just not, and I don't want to pinpoint which one, but it's the thing that you have over here. Okay, so but however, one thing we are seeing, which is super cool, is within companies, a lot of them are enabling social media internally. And there's a couple of technologies that do that. I can't. Oh, what's the name? You know, the Facebook for corporate. I can't. The name doesn't come to mind right now. That company.
There's so many of them, from Jive to.
There we go. Yeah, Jive and a few others. One thing I am totally seeing though is I just, for instance, sat at the end of the year with another big company, and I was there for the year-end event, and the leader and the CIO launched a hashtag on Twitter at that time at the year-end event and told the team, and you're talking about traditional, like tie here, you're really talking about conservative on the 10th level, and he said, you know what, our change for next year is we have a hashtag and we're going to get online. And I was very shocked by that. So I'm seeing, and not only that, in a lot of companies internally, I'm seeing them have internal Facebooks, internal groups, like social text, for instance, right? Yeah. One of our customers has used social text to do amazing things because they manage a bunch of towers around the world. Actually, they're the biggest in the world at that. So we're seeing a lot of inbred internal social media efforts, but I think they need to reach out as well.
Very good. Well, I want to thank you so much, Mico, for sharing your insight.
I feel like I graduated. Kevin, thank you. We need to do this again, by the way. This is great.
Again, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your experience, your wisdom, and I wish for you the safest of travels in 2015.
Thank you, my friend. Let's do it again.